ratio. So what we want to do when we're putting together our compost is 3 browns to 1 green. That is your rule of thumb, 3 to 1. Reason being because if the material gets too wet, then the oxygen level starts to really drop, and then you get those microorganisms that produce bad smells, and then stuff just starts to, the whole system starts to really slow down and go south. So we want to try to have as much dry brown material as possible without completely drying it out, because like all biological organisms and systems, they need moisture in order to live, right? They need water, they need oxygen, and they need food, just like us. We want to keep that in the right ratio. So 3 to 1 is the right ratio of browns to greens. And a very simple way to measure that out is just using a bucket, or you can use your hand. I'm going to use the bucket in this case. So what we could do is take 3 of these, and don't mind this grass that'll go on the green side. Three of these. I'll just set them right here for the time being before we actually put together our bin, which I'll show you in a second. So that will be enough of our brown material, and then we can mix that with this 1 bucket of green material. So this is kind of a visual, and I'll throw a little bit more into there for good measure, mainly because this green material is so wet. We want to have more brown material to kind of soak up that moisture. So this is kind of a visual of the correct ratio of greens to browns that you will want to use when putting together your compost pile. And as you can see, we got this big bag of greens, so we're going to have to get a wheelbarrow and probably get about 3 wheelbarrows of the wood chips. And what I'm going to do is add this to the big system when we're done. But just for demonstration purposes, this right here is what's called a geo bin, and this is made out of recycled plastic. It's something that you can pick up online pretty easily, and it's a quick and simple way to set up a compost bin, maybe at your home or anywhere else.
Do you recommend composting directly in the ground with composting?
Yeah, you can do that. If you're in a place where you feel comfortable and it's acceptable, basically composting can be done in just a simple pile. You don't need anything extra to do it. You can just basically take your materials and start to pile them up. There's some ants on it.
Yeah, there's some red.
You see on the back of my truck. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, so you can just make a pile. Really, that's what compost means in essence. Compost kind of comes from the same root word as compote. Any chefs familiar with that term, compote? Compote is like a mixture of things. I think it's a French word. So compost basically means a mixture, or in our case, a pile of different materials that you're putting together. And that's what our compost in mainly is in piles. But for our purposes, we'll put together a nice little bin because it's cute and it keeps everything
like
kind of
contained. Yeah, that's
It's a
one
container.
place.
It's a container. So one, it's aesthetically pleasing for a lot of folks. It looks like you got something going on. And 2, it keeps everything contained.
Yeah.
And it's not falling all over.
Especially for the food, you know, like
Yeah,
the smushy,
yeah.
smushy thing.
Yeah, exactly. It also can keep critters out. Keep the dogs. Somebody said that dogs out. Yeah, if you got animals, they're gonna want to investigate their stuff. Right? And so this will kind of keep them out. Good point. So this is something that you can buy pretty inexpensively, but as Michelle stated, you can also build a compost bin out of pallets, which are pretty much free. You can find anywhere. You know, some of y'all are Pinterest heads, and you go on Google Images and just look up compost or pallet compost bin. You get some great instructions on how to put together a very simple pallet compost. Metal bins. Metal bins are good. Which ones in particular are you talking about? Yes, those will work as well. Those will work as well. Any type of container, as long as it allows aeration. Again, the who that is actually doing the composting are the microorganisms. We're just creating the environment for them to be happy and to thrive. And they are going to require oxygen. If not, then you're going to get the funky brand. The funky band's going to come up there. They go get funky. Yeah.
Do you recommend composting in the winter? I've seen some people online say that they freeze the compost like anything, and then come in that following spring, they'll take it back out to the yard.
Yeah, you can do that as well. I do recommend composting year round though. Composting isn't dependent on the outside environmental temperature.
It's all of, yeah.
Oftentimes when you approach a composting pile, especially during this time of year, you'll see it steaming. That is heat. That is the biological activity coming off of it. So it really has nothing to do with where you place your composting pile or the ambient temperature. All of the heat, or most of the heat, I'm not saying all, that's a tricky word. Most of the heat that is generated in the compost pile is going to come from those microorganisms living and partying in there. So they're going to do that as long as they have food, water, and oxygen. They're going to get busy. So yeah, compost year round. You know, yeah, I'm with it.
Quick question, Khari.
Yes.
If you have a system like that, how do you get in to turn it?
With this one, you don't.
Oh, you don't turn.
Wow. you don't get in it to turn it.
Okay.
When you're ready to turn this, so long story short, these little twisty things are just connectors. Put these in at various intervals. Once it's ready to turn, once this has been completely full, you filled this up, and it has cooked for a few weeks, and you're ready to turn it. You'll just remove these, open this whole thing up, move your pile, or put that back together, and then set the whole system up again. So this is very convenient for that, because to your point, one of the other crucial components of proper composting is aeration. So that is making sure that the pile has adequate oxygen, and one way to do that is by turning your pile, meaning moving it physically from one location to another location, or taking it out and putting it back in. One, that's adding oxygen to the pile, and it's also making sure that what's on the outside, which is decomposing more slowly, and it's more just exposed to the air, it's drying out, is getting on the inside. So it's just basically mixing the pile. All right, I'm gonna put this together for y'all. Please, questions?
What's an indication that your pile isn't doing too well? What does it look like?
Bad smell, or taking forever to decompose. That's a good sign. Really, you can turn your compost pile every other day if you have time on your hands and you really want quick compost. You can turn your compost pile every other day, and it will break down probably in a matter of weeks say that kind of with a side eye. You won't have finished compost, but you will have what looks like a compost that you're familiar with. You will break down in 21 to 30 days if you're turning it every other day. Generally, though, people will turn their compost once a week, maybe twice a week, and you can have compost in about 3 months. Right? That's a good general idea about how long it'll take to get to a finished compost. Any other questions?
Yeah, so if you're constantly adding to it,
Yes,
does that increase the time it takes? Like,
100%. You don't want to be constantly adding to the same pile. Basically, you want to get it up to a critical mass. So a critical mass, or the ideal size for a compost, is 1 cubic yard. 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot. 3 foot long, 3 foot wide, and 3 foot tall. Once it gets up to that size, then you have enough material for it to really heat up. So that is where you want to stop adding at that point. That can be difficult, especially if you're a single person or a small family, or you just don't create a lot of material. So in that case, your compost is probably going to take a little bit longer to be finished, but don't let that dissuade you from doing it. You know, if you're just not in a position to compost, or you know, you're just not feeling it at the time, there are also services that can come and pick up your compostable materials, like Compost Now. We actually have a compost pickup service on the west side of Atlanta called Westside Compost, where we come and pick up compostable material from you, and we'll compost that at our farm. So if you can't compost yourself, there are also services that'll do that. And if you have a community garden or an urban farm in your neighborhood, more than likely they're doing some composting and may be welcomed for you to bring your compost and drop it off there. So I think the city, the Atlanta map maybe has locations where you can drop your compost off on it. If not, then we need to fix that. So. All right, so here's our simple compost bin. We are ready to go. We are going to start putting our material in that, and so that you can see what's going on, I'm just going to do it on the outside, and then we'll transfer.